Welcome, everybody, to another patch notes breakdown. Actually, one of the last major patches we're going to get before Smite 2 closed alpha starts up here at the end of the month on August 24th. If you're needing one of those founders packs, go to nexus.gg/BlazeMcBain. But we're here with the Underworld Unleashed 11.8 update for Smite, and boy, do we have some changes for you. First of all, we're getting a few skins, some nice cross-gen skins. Apollo, Artemis, Chalk, and Mercury all getting some skins you're going to see in Smite 2 later on when they come to the game. First of all, we have Conquest getting changes to green buff, blue buff, and then some of the totems as far as like changing protections, mana, penetration, that sort of thing. Light changes across the board. They're going to feel good. And big positives on that front. Hasten Fatalis, an item we've seen a good bit on ADCs. They're going to increase the gold cost by 100 gold. I don't think this really takes it out of the meta of ADCs. In fact, I don't even know if it's really the meta in Conquest. It definitely feels better in non-Conquest modes, but we're seeing a lot of ADCs or just auto attackers build this, and it feels relatively good. So that 100 gold, nerf, meh. Don't think it does too much. Shifter Shield, increasing that cost by 100 gold as well. Shifter Shield, I've casted a game that had 7 of these built in one game. It's a very good item for tanky players. I definitely check it out. High of the Nemean line, they're going to decrease that reflect damage down to 12.5%. I already thought High of the Nemean line wasn't built a ton. I'm a little bit surprised to see this nerf, but as an ADC player, I don't mind it. Shield the Phoenix, they're going to decrease the health from 250 to 200. I think this is just a kind of get it in line type of deal. Nothing too crazy. Aussie, decrease the physical power from 40 to 35. Aussie's been a very, very good lifesteal item. So power is kind of the thing you need to take away from it. Soul Eater and its evolutions now grant flat pin on evolution. That's going to be a big feels good. Wing Shard's getting increased duration to 5 seconds. Devourer's Gauntlet is getting decreased gold cost to 2,300 gold because this has kind of fallen off since the Aussie buffs and now the Aussie nerf. I think we're going to see a little bit more Devourer's Gauntlet, but we'll also be seeing another lifesteal item here in a little bit. Bladed Boomerang, they're going to increase the buff duration from 6 seconds to 10 seconds. Wing Blade, increase the magical protections from 20 to 25, increase the health from 150 to 200, and increase the cooldown reduction from 10 to 20%. Wing Blade's going to be seen. It's going to be seen a good bit, probably on some supports. We'll see how that goes, though. Dawnbringer, decrease the cost to 2350, increase the health to 200, increase the passive duration to 8 seconds. Dawnbringer has already been kind of a niche item. I like it. I'm curious to see if this makes it come up a little bit more often. Heartward Amulet, decreased the cost to 2050, increased the health to 250, and added 200 mana. If you're a person that likes to build Cursed Weaver, Amulet Stronghold's really, really good. I would take a look at Heartward Amulet. It's a good item. Spear of the Magus, decreased the cost of 2,400, decreased the cooldown down to 8 seconds from 15. Huge change to Spear of the Magus. Cursed Weaver, that's right, increased the max health and max damage from 5% to 7.5%. If you haven't been a Cursed Weaver believer, you should be now. Do it. Go buy it. Ratatouille and its glyphs going to get increased magical power up to 125 now. Karen's coins getting buffed. It's increased gold per flips going from 1 to 15. Stone of Gaia now grants power when the passive is not on cooldown. And they remove power when the passive regeneration is in effect. So kind of a little bit of a change there. Have to see how that plays out. Equinox increased the passive damage per level from 2 to 3. That item's been kind of having a hard time finding its place ever since it's gotten nerfed. So hopefully this brings it back a little bit. Abyssal Stone removed the passive cooldown. Erosion decreased the passive cooldown from 10 seconds to 4 seconds. Archmage's Gem increased the magical power from 85 to 120. Yo, Conduit Gem's about to be bought, and that's why. So y'all just better watch out. Rejuvenating Heart increased the magical power from 55 to 65, increased the passive range from 40 to 55. I think that's a really good change. It feels a little bit better. Crimson Claws, the item that came to the game and then never really received much love, getting some love this patch. Decreased the cost down to 2450, decreased the physical power from 50 to 45, but increased the lifesteal from 15 to 25%. This is going to be a viable option for ADCs and auto attackers. You now have the options between Aussie, Devourer's Gauntlet, Crimson Claws, and even, Soul Eater. They all have viability and feel really good. Pythax Piece decreased the cost to 2250, increased the passive physical and magical lifesteal to 12%. Gonna be nice to see that item make a little bit of its way back. Bancroft's Claw decreased the cooldown to 10 seconds, increased the max shield damage and shield to 1%, so doubling that. Amulet of Silence increased the passive range to 55 and decreased the cooldown to 8 seconds. Another item doesn't get built a lot, but it is kind of fun to play around. Curious to see if we see more of that. Perfected Ratatouille increased the buff duration to 6 seconds, so doubling that buff duration. Reverent Pridwin increased the shield health to 225% of your protections. Breastplate of the Vigilance increased passive range from 60 to 70 units. Malicious Deathbringer, passive cooldown reduction now also affects ultimate abilities. If you're an ADC, you should be buying Death's Embrace and Malicious Deathbringer with a Fail Not. You will have a good time. Okay, just trust me on that. Go watch some of my streams. You have a good time doing some cooldown ADCs with crit. Moving on to gods. E-Shell. Threads of Light getting decreased damage and decreased bonus damage, but they're removing the damage mitigation on the great end, so getting a little bit of a nerf going on here. Zhongqi, Demon Bag reduced the protections per stack to 1.3. King Arthur, Steadfast, they remove HP 5. Overhead Slash, they increase the cooldown to 14 to all ranks. And Hamstring, they increase the cooldown from 14 all ranks to 16, scale down to 14 respectively, like Overhead Slash. Mulan, Training Arc gets increased sword rank requirement to 6,500 damage, same for the spear, and then 2,000 for the bow. Spear Thrust increased the cooldown to 14 seconds. Medusa getting another round of nerfs here. Viper Shot decreased the scaling damage per tick, 8%. Acid Spray increased the cooldown, 15 scaling down to 13. Petrify decreased the damage from 280, was 6 to 680, now plus 95%. Now it's going to be 270 to 650 plus 90%. So Medusa getting some lofty nerfs here along with her last patch nerfs. So Medusa might fall off here. Freya decreased the damage of Iridate. Pulse increased the cooldown to 12 seconds. And Valkyrie's Discretion increased the cooldown to 110 seconds. Freya's been feeling pretty good with Hasten Fatalis, so not surprised to see this change. Chang'e, another god that's been an absolute menace as of late. Crescent Moon Dance decreased the damage. And then Wax Moon decreased the damage. So those you're not going to get as often two-shot. That'll feel pretty nice. Jingwei increased her attack speed per level to 1.6. Explosive Bolts decreased the cooldown. Now scales down to 10 seconds. That's going to feel really good. Agility decreased the cooldown, increased the air power, and increased the buff duration by a second. And Airstrike increased the damage scaling to 110%. Jingwei, I think, was already in this kind of like weird spot where like she felt good sometimes. With the Malicious Deathbringer change, you're going to see a lot of Jingwei. Kumbhakarna getting some interesting changes here. General, the basic physical procs are going to be at 20. Basic attacks, Kumbha's first 2 attacks now cleave. Sleepy, they increase the revival health to 40%, and when the passive ability is on cooldown, Kumbha gains 20 HP 5. Throwback, decrease the mana cost and decrease the cooldown. Groggy Strike, this ability's root no longer is affected by DR. And then Mighty Yawn now deals damage. Shifted Mesmerize duration. It can go from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. They decrease the slow to 40% all ranks, now scales from 20 to 40%. Decrease the attack speed slow, now 20 to 40%. Decrease the mana cost, 50 at all ranks. Epic Uppercut, decrease the cooldown by 5 seconds. So I think we might see more Kumbha, and I think this is going to feel really, really good for Kumbha players. Maui, getting increased base attack speed, basic attack power, and attack power per level. Master Fisherman decreased the charge time and increased projectile speed. Mystica Ulua increased the protections, increased the movement speed. Solar Swing decreased the cooldowns. Love seeing some Maui changes. Love having him as my support. Bake Kajira decreased the cooldowns on Rough Waters, increased the damage on Sonic Wave, and Twisting Dive increased the stun duration. Kind of curious to see where this puts Bake, because I think he's just in a weird place. I think he's really good in non-conquest, though. Anubis increased his base health and his health per level, increased his duration on Sorrow. Plague of Lotus decreased the cooldown, increased the damage scaling, and Mummify increased the stun duration. Anubis is going to be feeling pretty good. He's getting some nice little buffs there. Hell increased the mana per level to 60. Hinder Cleanse decreased the mana cost on both Hinder and Cleanse. Repulse increased the damage, and Inspire increased the self-movement and allied movement speed. Hoi Yi getting some love here. Increased the attack speed per level to 1.4%. Ricochet decreased the cooldown, and Dive Bomb decreased the mana. Hoi Yi's back, baby. Humbats, they're going to give Infused Strikes increased damage. Same with Sacred Monkey gets increased bounce range, and Fear No Evil increased the deploy range. Kind of happy to see some Humbats, not nerfs, but buffs here. Tyr decreased the cooldown on Lawbringer. Pele, Everlasting Flame increased the physical power, the duration, and the cooldown of it. Eruption increased the inner damage and outer damage, along with Bakasura getting increased passive physical power from Butcher Blades, and his Regurgitate now deals Physical damage every 0.5 seconds within the area and increase the cone basic attack duration as well. Uller, bladed arrow gets increased damage. Hail of arrows gets decreased mana cost. Glory, bound, increased damage and decrease the mana cost. Vomit, clear the path gets decreased cooldown. Umbrella Ring, increase the projectile speed and the width. And Colossal Fury, increase the shield scaling. I don't think this brings Vomit back. I think that's just the way it is. He's always been in an iffy spot here. Discordia, Unruly Magic, increased the projectile speed by roughly 10%. Erratic Behavior, increased the range and now reduces the cooldown of her ultimate ability. Discordia is going to be popping off, and that's just the way of the road. Hades, Shroud of Darkness, decreased the cooldown from 14, scaling to 10 seconds, now 13, scaling to 9. Devour Souls, increased the damage and decreased the detonate damage. Pillar of Agni, increased the damage scaling per tick from 30 to 35%. Hades might be on the rise. Watch out in solo lane. Kali, Mark of Death, increased the penetration per level to 0.5. Incense, increased the power buff. Now scales 15 to 35. And Destruction, increased the damage scaling per tick from 8% to 10%. Never have I ever wanted to see Kali buffs, but here we are. We're seeing them. So watch out. Artemis, one of those really fun cooldown hunters, increased the base health from 450 to 480, increased her health per level to 78. Transgression's Fate, enemies taking damage from the traps are now revealed to Artemis's team for the duration. And Vengeful Assault decreased the cooldown to 14 seconds at all ranks. That is it for your patch notes breakdown. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Let me know what you think of patch 11.8. What are you most hyped about in this patch? What are you most hyped about to see in Smite 2? Let me know. Hopefully I catch y'all on the battlegrounds. It's Blaze. Y'all take it easy, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.